Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling. Like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling. I won't hit no ceiling. I'm going higher than I've ever known. I got a real good feeling.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be covering Ethereum, and we're going to be talking about some major rallies that are going on right now in your favorite altcoin and the king of crypto, Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is actually in the process of breaking some major resistance that we're going to talk about here in a second, sitting just above $36,000. We also have some updates on Ethereum that we need to talk about with EIP 1559 and some gas fee issues that we have seen. We're actually seeing more active addresses active right now on Ethereum than in Bitcoin. That's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. And we need to talk about how Craig Wright sued Bitcoin.org, claiming that the Bitcoin white paper is his intellectual property, and the founder, not the founder, but the owner of Bitcoin.com was forced to take it down and pay $48,000 in court fees. We will be talking about all of that and more in today's show, so make sure to smash that like button before we get started. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. I am joined, as always, by my co-host and your president, Kinda Crypto, Tim. How you doing, Tim?
What is up, everybody? I am doing pretty good. I slept pretty well last night. Big things happening in the Warren house, so that's
Yeah.
fun
Do we
stuff.
always start with the sleep breakdowns? Like, so guys,
Listen, sleep is a big thing to me.
Sleep
I
is
slept
important.
pretty good last night. Here's my sleep update.
I had
for the day.
sleep apnea for the, and I probably from time to time still do have it, but for those of you in our audience who have had sleep apnea or have sleep apnea or know someone with sleep apnea, you know it's not
It sucks.
the easiest way to sleep.
Do you have a
So
CPAP?
I had one at one point and it broke, so I need to potentially get a new one. So that's fun.
That might
Oh my gosh. Well, we are also joined, as always, by our producer, Smay. How you doing, Smay?
Hey everybody, so I just want to give you a sleep update. So I slept about 9 hours last night, so really good night. I slept pretty good. I still woke up a little tired, might have overslept just a little bit. But yeah, that was my sleep update for the day.
Well, while we're at it, I didn't sleep very well. That's what coffee's for. Why do you guys not have coffee? Especially you, Tim. You're always complaining about sleep. You liar. That's not coffee. That's water.
They'll never know.
They'll never know. Okay, well,
so
that's a
actually-
bit like you would not know if I'm wearing pants or not. I probably am because I'm at work
don't
surrounded
know.
by a bunch of people, but
I don't know why we had to go there with
you
that
don't
one, but
technically know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I
Anyway.
think now you need to stand up and make sure that you are
Do you want me to?
presentable.
Yeah.
because we need to
Are you
know.
well- are you
That is
go-
something they need to know. That's okay. Good.
Okay, I'm wearing pants just so there we go.
I don't drink coffee. I don't do drugs.
I don't do drugs. Yeah.
You don't do drugs? Well, I guess I do.
Yes,
If coffee's a drug, then I'm a drug
I'm
addict.
just kidding.
Anyway,
Every
we
now
are
and
going to
then.
go ahead and do a market watch because this is something that they do over on Ben's channel, and they always ask me to do it when I'm over there. So we're going to do it here on our channel because I want to go ahead and break down what the crypto markets are doing, what Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of your other major altcoins are doing, and look briefly at the chart before we dive into our news. So let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. Over the last 24 hours or so, we have seen major price movements on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And finally, during this little bit of a crypto winter, if you will, that we've been in for the last month or so, we've seen a lot of sideways action. We haven't seen very much excitement going on in cryptocurrency. But for all of you who are still here, you're the faithful ones. You're the ones that are here even when Bitcoin is relatively boring, as it has been. But the last 24 hours have brought about some very interesting price movements. Namely, Bitcoin is up 5.61%. It rallied from where it was yesterday, around $33,000 to $34,000. It's currently sitting at $36,000. And Ethereum is up 10% over the last 24 hours, sitting at $2,200. Looking on the chart briefly, we're going to come back to this in a little bit, but I do want to give you a bit of an update. Bitcoin and Ethereum both, this is Bitcoin and this this is Ethereum, are sitting in rising wedges right now. Both of them actually look like they might be about to break bullish out of them, but we're going to come back to that a little bit later. We're also seeing that Ethereum gas fees right now are only sitting around 18 gwei. That's not gwei. I've never actually found out how you're supposed to pronounce that because I don't. Tell me in the chat.
They tell you when you read a lot, you get intelligent, and that is true. It doesn't mean you know how to say words.
It doesn't mean I know how to say it.
Yeah.
I know what it is. It doesn't mean I know how to speak it. Probably should find out. Anyway, the gas fees are relatively low right now, and that's actually a story we're going to be covering a little bit later. Tether, for all of you guys who like to trade Tether, is up 0.03%. The first April Fool's video I ever did on the channel was a Tether price prediction. I predicted it was going to go to $1,000, and I fooled so many people. Everybody in the chat just thought I was stupid. I promise I am aware Tether is not supposed to be moving. Binance Coin's up about 10%. If we look here over the last 24 hours, we see some major gainers in Ethereum Classic being up 25%, and we also see that Quanta is one of our major losers, down 11%, but overall the market is looking relatively healthy and is looking relatively green. Crypto market capitalization sitting just under $1.5 trillion, and Bitcoin's market dominance is sitting pretty around 46.5%, with Ethereum sitting around 17%. This is something I want to touch on briefly because we're actually seeing an increase in Bitcoin market dominance recently, and I think this is a very good thing for crypto. We can see that Bitcoin's dominance back earlier this month on the 6th was sitting at 40%, whereas today it sits at 51%. In that same time, we have seen the other category of cryptocurrencies, that namely being the altcoins outside of the top 10, has declined from around 21.5% down to 18.67%. So all of that to say, Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing well over the last couple of days. Over the last month, we have seen a decrease in in altcoins market dominance. That's going into Bitcoin, and that's actually a very good thing for Bitcoin because it means that Bitcoin is the place where people are going to feel safe in these trying times, if you will, for cryptocurrency. So with all that said, are there any super chats yet? If so, we can read them.
I've seen, no.
Anything in chat that we want to mention before we move on here to our first article?
Someone's like, I'm actually concerned that Tether might be a scam. So that, or not a scam, what'd they say? I find it exactly because I said it and then I didn't even quote it correctly.
Fraud,
yeah.
People have been worried about that for a long time.
Oh, look at that. We got a super chat.
Hey, there we go. Let's go ahead and read that and then we'll jump in.
Flippin' Curvin.
No, it's Philip.
I know, I'm just dyslexic.
Philip.
That's all it is.
Les Dixon.
Les Dixon. There you go.
There you go.
Am I the only one kind of disappointed that Jeb is in fact wearing
Whoa!
Love your faces, lads. Keep it up. That's pretty funny. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how that made
I
me
am
feel.
definitely not disappointed that you are wearing pants. I'm very, very happy about that.
That made
fact.
me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the 55 kroner? Is that Swedish kroner? I think that's kroner. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on because we have some articles that we need to touch on, and I'm actually going to flip the script a little bit. We were going to talk about Ethereum gas fees first, but I want to talk about Craig Wright first because we have a very interesting update coming out from none other than the person who claims to be the founder of Bitcoin. Anyone who doesn't know the name Craig Wright, you're welcome, but Craig Wright is the person who claims to be none other than Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder and the creator of Bitcoin. Now, he's not, and he's never shown any proof of that, and quite frankly, he's kind of a jerk. Just watch the videos of how he talks about certain countries in Africa. I'm not going to go there, but you get my point. This, however, is simply me reporting facts. Craig Wright wins default judgment. Bitcoin.org must remove the Bitcoin white paper from Bitcoin.org. Bitcoin.org must now remove the Bitcoin white paper, host a notice referring to the court's judgment, and pay $48,600 to cover Wright's legal costs. The self-proclaimed Satoshi Nakamoto and Bitcoin SV proponent Craig Wright has won a legal battle claiming copyright infringement on behalf of Bitcoin.org for hosting the Bitcoin white paper. Wright won by default after the website's pseudonymous owner, Cobra, chose not to mount a defense. Bitcoin.org now must remove the white paper and pay a fine towards his legal expenses of $48,000. Cobra said this on Twitter. I don't think you could get a better advertisement of why Bitcoin is necessary than what happened today. Rules enforced through cryptography are far more superior than rules based on whoever can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in court. And he's absolutely onto something here, guys. Look, the point of Bitcoin was to be immutable. And what are we seeing? We're seeing an attack on the freedom of Bitcoin.org and Bitcoin.com and BitcoinCore.org, I believe, are two other websites that had to do this. We are seeing an attack on their ability to actually post the Bitcoin white paper and show people what Bitcoin stands for. Bitcoin stands completely and utterly opposed to this kind of movement. Philosophically, it just does. That's the way this has always been. One of the reasons that I don't like Craig Wright, and I'll make that very clear, is because of the way he attacks people that are trying to evangelize Bitcoin. If he was really the creator of Bitcoin, he wouldn't be so worried about his own reputation. He would be far more worried about his own creation, because whoever did create Bitcoin understood that Bitcoin was far more important than the person that created it. That's one of the reasons that we know that he's not the creator of Bitcoin. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on here. Onto LLP Wright's legal representation celebrated the victory as an important development in Dr. Wright's quest to obtain judicial vindication of his copyright in his white paper. Dr. Wright does not wish to restrict access to his white paper. Okay, wrote Onter senior associate Simon Cohen. However, he does not agree that it should be used by supporters and developers of alternative assets, such as Bitcoin Core, to promote or otherwise misrepresent those assets as being Bitcoin, given that they do not support or align with the vision for Bitcoin as he set out in his white paper. In January, Wright issued letters to Bitcoin.org, Bitcoin.com, and BitcoinCore.org demanding they remove copies of the Bitcoin white paper from their websites and asserting that they were infringing on his IP, intellectual property. In April, Wright received permission to serve Cobra outside the UK jurisdiction by email, with the Bitcoin.org operator having 22 days to respond from April 26th. Last month, Cobra tweeted that they had missed the deadline. Cobra's anonymous, so that's why they're saying they. Responded to speculation that they may have missed the deadline to maintain anonymity. Cobra said, no, I didn't miss it to maintain anonymity. I said anonymity. Anonymity. I didn't show up because defending against nonsense is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
That is the biggest F you to Craig Wright I think I've ever heard. That's really funny.
You know, Taylor and I had this joke whenever one of us says something that one of us thought was really important, but it's not really.
Yeah,
we say that can be chapter 22. And what we're referring to is we're writing a book of things that really no one cares about. And I think that this could be chapter 22.
Yeah, I think this is chapter
Craig
1
White's
through 22. Yeah, Craig Wright complaining about Bitcoin and people trying to evangelize what Bitcoin was specifically set out to do. Look, the entire purpose of Bitcoin is for Bitcoin to be in the hands of the people, not in the hands of whoever created it. That's why Satoshi Nakamoto stayed completely anonymous. And the reason this upsets me is because Craig Wright and any of his disciples, of which I don't think there are very many, who believe that he actually did create Bitcoin, are following someone who stands absolutely and categorically opposed to what Bitcoin itself stands for. All of that to say, Craig Wright is completely ideologically dissonant from whoever founded Bitcoin and for what Bitcoin stands for. He stands for centralization, or else he wouldn't be suing people that are using his white paper.
Yeah.
We stand for decentralization because that's what Bitcoin and the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he, she, or they may be, set it out to be. You can't build something like Bitcoin by force, and you certainly can't do it in a centralized manner with power behind one man who claims to be in charge of it. It doesn't work. It undermines the entire function of Bitcoin. I've told you guys this before. Bitcoin has value because of its limited supply, and that limited supply, through supply and demand economics, maintains its value into the future, which is something that the US dollar and other fiat currencies cannot do. That's why we hold it and invest in it for the long term. It's almost silly to think about investing in the dollar. I mean, you lose value in it, but you invest in Bitcoin because it maintains value. A true currency should be able to maintain its value. And the thing that was built into Bitcoin's network to defend that limited supply was its decentralization. If we allow that to be attacked or infringed upon, then we are losing what we actually have as our only defense against any kind of government or authority that would seek to oppress us and the future of Bitcoin. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that Craig Wright trying to get them to take down the Bitcoin white paper means absolutely nothing, quite frankly, and it makes no impact on the decentralized nature of Bitcoin. The reason I make a big point out of this is not because I disagree with Craig Wright, although I do. The reason I make a big point out of this is because I don't want anyone to think that what he stands for is anything like what Bitcoin stands for, because it is absolutely not. Tim, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, I'm going to complete my thoughts with just like, we all know this is an absolute foolishness. We all know Craig Wright is not the founder of Bitcoin. I said it before the stream. I think the only two people that might be convinced at this point that he is himself and his own mother. Those are the only two people that are capable, I think, of thinking that he actually might be Satoshi Nakamoto. I am impressed, though, that in the lie that he is telling, in this stream of webs of lies he's telling, he is giving a lot of thought to the details of when you read that article, him talking about like, I want people to have my white paper. I'm like, that's a good catch, because it would have been a caught. He would have gotten caught if he had said the white paper, but he said my white paper, and I want people to use it. I don't want them when I'm just like, man, he put a lot of thought into this lie. So I'm impressed, but again, I'll go back to this could be chapter 22 in the things, and that's what Cobra pretty much said. Like,
I don't care,
guys. I didn't give this any time of day because it doesn't deserve any time of day. This is absolutely stupid.
Good for Cobra.
Yeah,
good for Cobra. Shout out to you, man.
It's a cool name too.
It is a cool name. You can go by cool names on the internet. I'm Hidden Dragon in League of Legends, just so you know. Anywho, we have some more news that we need to jump into. We got to talk about some Ethereum. Mr. Obvious, who is always in our chat, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Mr. Obvious said, Craig Wright is a con artist. Your words, not mine, but I think that's an interesting take. Yeah. Ethereum breaking out of falling wedge. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. It's actually breaking bullish out of it. But first, I want to cover the Ethereum gas fees, because we have now seen a 6-month low forming on the Ethereum gas fees as the market is cooling. Let's go ahead and read this article by CoinDesk. Layer 2 solutions easing congestion, one of those being Polymatic. We'll get to that in a second. Ethereum gas fees have abated with decreasing network congestion. Also, there's flashbots. Ethereum transaction fees have dropped to their lowest since December because blockchain activity has cooled, while use of Ethereum Layer 2 solution protocols such as Polygon or Matic, has heated, according to blockchain data and analytics. Analysts. As of June 27th, the average transaction fee on the Ethereum blockchain was $4.42, according to data from Coinmetrics. That's down from fee levels above $80 as recent as mid-May. In fact, that's $60. But we can also see down here, high fees have been one of the biggest challenges for Ethereum at a time of increasing network usage. Interest in decentralized finance has been surging along with the price of Ethereum, and congestion on the Ethereum blockchain has dropped with the cryptocurrency's price. Transactions on the network fell to around 1.1 million on June the 27th, down from May's high of around 1.7 million, according to Coinmetrics. Data from CoinGecko shows Ether's trading volume on exchanges has come down significantly. You can see the some transaction count showed up here for the majority of this year. So the reason that this is important is because Ethereum's gas fees are one of its biggest hindrances to scaling. There is a massive movement, as you guys know, to help DeFi become one of the major industries in the cryptocurrency sector. I'm starting to call cryptocurrency a sector rather than an industry, because now there are industries showing up inside of cryptocurrency, and one of them is decentralized finance and all of the other decentralized application protocols like decentralized insurance and decentralized, you name it, someone's trying to make something decentralized out of it. It's a very, very important part of the growth of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You guys got to realize, I'll show you over here on CoinMarketCap, that Ethereum has a huge market supply, huge market capitalization. It's less than half as valuable as Bitcoin, but it is still more than 5 times more valuable than Binance Coin and Cardano. Ethereum is worth more than the next, I think, almost all of the cryptocurrencies below it combined. It is a very, very important power player in cryptocurrency. So when we're talking about the scalability issue on Ethereum that EIP 1559 and the London Hard Fork are trying to lay foundations for Ethereum 2.0, when we're talking about all these fundamentals going on, the reason it's important is because for Ethereum to continue doing what it is doing, which is literally launching an entire sector, it needs to be able to handle high transactional throughput at low fees. It just has to. It's not going to be able to support what it wants to support if it can. So, with that in mind, we need to be paying close attention to these fees, and we need to be paying close attention to anything that helps to bring down those fees. But we also need to be paying attention to how many people are using it. So some transactions have gone down, but we also have an interesting article over here on blockchain.news that says this: Ethereum's daily active addresses surpass Bitcoin for the first time in crypto history. As Bitcoin continues to consolidate, Ethereum gained momentum and breached the psychological price of $2,100. Ethereum has been surged by 12.47. That's not me misspeaking. That's the way this is typed. In the last 24 hours to hit $2,130 during intraday trading, according to CoinMarketCap. As a result, Ethereum made some history by surpassing Bitcoin's daily active addresses, as acknowledged by Santiment. The crypto analytic firm explained, on a day that saw history be made with Ethereum passing Bitcoin in daily active addresses for the first time, altcoins came into play. may come into play. KSM, Comp, and Zilliqa were among many projects to make an imprint on the market, while Bitcoin ranged around $34,500. You can see right here, as Bitcoin's active addresses crashed, Ethereum's rallied just a little bit. I can even zoom in on this, and you will see this is not so much that we saw a massive increase in Ethereum's active addresses. What we really saw was a huge drop in Bitcoin's active addresses. So this is like a two-sided story right here. We saw Ethereum's active addresses rise, but we also saw Bitcoin's active addresses drop. And that's really interesting. Tim, why do you think that happened?
Have no idea whatsoever. And what's crazy is you saw them drop, but yet the price continues to rally.
Yeah, I think the reason that we have seen, and tell us in chat why you think that happened. I think the reason that we're seeing Bitcoin's active addresses crash is because I think a lot more people actively work in Ethereum on a day-to-day basis, where a lot more people buy Bitcoin and hold it. I think there's a lot more hodlers in Bitcoin per market capitalization unit, if you will, per capita, than there are in Ethereum. I think more of the people in Ethereum are actively using their Ethereum for something, like they're moving around and staking it, or they're using it in DeFi projects, or they're building things on top of it. Ethereum is much more of a functional architecture, so it's actually surprising to me that we haven't seen this happen before. It's interesting to me that Bitcoin has seen so many active addresses as opposed to Ethereum. I think that this is actually indication that people are hodling Bitcoin and they're holding it for the long run.
I was going to say, like, the more and more, as you were talking, I was like, I think this just might be people kind of, they did what they did. They're kind of hanging tight, because what this is talking about is people actively either, buying more or selling some, right? That we're talking about active wallets. They're trading pretty much.
Yeah, they're moving it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are we're sitting in that position on Bitcoin, and we're like, all right, we're hovering around the top side of what we think we could be in this accumulation phase, which, I mean, we can still go higher, but like it's kind of we're in that, well, actually I'm not gonna say top side, more like middle. We're right there in the middle between like that 30 and 40, and people are kind of like, I don't know, are we gonna stay on the bottom half of the accumulation? Are we gonna flip back to the top? And it's looking like we're headed back towards the top, but I think that might be that reason for Bitcoin. Whereas Ethereum, which is what we've been talking about the last couple of streams, people have been sleeping on Ethereum. People have been almost acting like just because the price isn't doing anything crazy, because it was actually dropping. Like I even saw someone ask in chat earlier, like, oh, can you look at Ethereum over Bitcoin, which up until like yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever was very, very bearish. However, now it seems to be reversing, and it seems like Ethereum might be gaining some ground back on Bitcoin. And obviously yesterday went a long way to help even complete that thought and make it go higher. I have been saying now for like 3 weeks, guys, Ethereum is not done. It's kind of consolidating and waiting for this London fork to actually drop, and versus see how much more efficient it actually can be.
Yeah, and I think what people also need to keep in mind is that Ethereum is a very, very valid project. It's a very strong project, and just because Ethereum 2.0 is being delayed doesn't mean that people aren't using it. You got to keep that in mind. Ethereum is still a very good project, and there is a good reason that people are moving it around, because they believe in it. I think this actually speaks to the fact, not the fact, but to my opinion, that we have found somewhat of a bottom. Now, I could still see us doing some work below 30,000. I could see us going down to that 28,000 region. Worst case scenario, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I could see us going down to 20. At this point, it doesn't seem likely, but we haven't actually broken this secondary movement, this downtrend that we've been in for the last 6-8 weeks. We haven't broken it. We haven't confirmed we're moving to the upside, so it's possible. That being said, I think we've seen very, very strong support. In fact, we have around that $30,000 region, and in doing so, we have, through the crash, broken the confidence of many people that had weak hands, but through the bounce, solidified the confidence of the people that have strong hands. And I think you and me have strong hands, or else you wouldn't still be here when Bitcoin hasn't really been doing a whole lot over the last 6 weeks. Bitcoin, I think, has shaken out a lot of the weak hands, and I think this article, even though this was not the point of the article, the point was that we've seen active addresses on Ethereum increase. I think we've also seen some evidence that we've seen the weak hands get shaken out, and we're seeing more strength coming out of the Bitcoin bulls and the Bitcoin hodlers, because they're not moving it around. The ones that still hold it are doing just that. They are holding it. With that said, do we have any super chats, or should we move on to some
We do. We have 2 of them, actually. So let me get over to those. We got one from Matt C. saying, did you see the head of Banco Azteca, I think, in Mexico, call fiat currency garbage. He wants to start accepting Bitcoin at the bank. Again, another domino falling.
Yep, I did see
say that. I saw that he did say that. Unfortunately, there is some resistance from people in the government, obviously, with law. Like, there's supporters in the Mexican government. There are also some people saying, no, that is not going to happen anytime soon. We will see. That's going to be a wrestling match. I mean, we had the same thing happening right here in the U.S. We have a lot of politicians who are very pro crypto. We have some that are kind of like, all right, we're skeptical. We don't really know what's happening here. It's going to be really interesting. The good news is at this point, it looks like there isn't going to be a ban in the United States. It's just going to be, hey, what do we do to curtail this and make sure it doesn't get out of hand?
Yeah.
The next one from Eric Little said, I am pretty sure that Bitcoin white paper would fall under fair use. As far as that, I saw even someone comment on that. If you go deep into, maybe not the article we read, but other articles where they talk more about the details of what happened with Craig White and everything, it is simply the UK that they are not allowed to have their white page. So when they're, I don't know exactly how that works, but I guess whatever their postings are that are in other countries, they can still have that white page up.
Yep.
Simply in the UK, they can't have the white pages on there.
Yeah. No, the UK has different, fair use and
The
freedom
UK
of speech
has
laws
been
than
in
we
the
do.
news a lot recently. They're doing a lot of fishy stuff with
UK is always in the news.
Well, I'm saying recently, like in last couple of days, it's like UK's banning this and doing that and passing stupid judgment on a case that should not have any argument whatsoever. But you know what?
Should be pretty obvious.
I guess the law says if the other side doesn't show up, the other side wins. I guess
win
that's
by
part of
default.
it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing with speeding tickets.
Oh, man.
Well, guys, if you were enjoying today's stream, smash that like button. Let's see if we can't get to 1,000 likes. We've got a little over 2,000 people watching live here, and we are very thankful for everyone who decided to take the time and tune in. We very much appreciate that, guys. We want to come before you humbly every single day and provide as much value as we possibly can to you, while also educating you on cryptocurrency markets and hopefully helping to guide you in the right direction to make some money in these markets, while also helping to evangelize our core values and evangelize our mission. Our mission is to help you guys take back control of your destiny from those who stole it from you. You know who stole it from you? The people who told you that you couldn't, and the people who told you that you had to go and rely on them. If you want to be successful in cryptocurrency, the only person stopping you is you. The good news is, the easiest person to change is you. It's a lot harder to change someone else, but you can change yourself. That's why we invest so much in our own education. That's why we want to invest so much in your education. So if that's something that you can stand behind, smash that subscribe button and consider hitting that post notification bell so you'll be updated every time a new video comes out.
Yeah. Before we transition to stories, just because this is a good place to ask you, because this question does have nothing to do with crypto, and I might not have a good answer for people, but Ozzy Todd asked in the super chat, he said, favorite MLB teams, gentlemen. I'm not even going to say what it is. I want to see what Jeb says. I just want to give an answer from Jeb. But favorite MLB teams, gentlemen, also go Bucks. Hashtag fear the deer. Yeah, the Bucks are doing really well. But yeah, Jeb, with no information given to you whatsoever, who is your favorite MLB team?
Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, point plus 1,000 for Jeb, because I did not know that he knew that the MLB was Major League Baseball.
Of course I know it's Major League
listen,
Baseball.
Jeb,
Come on, Tam. I'm not that illiterate.
That's why I'm saying plus 1,000. I honestly didn't think that you knew that.
I knew you were about to ask that, and I was sitting here all smug like...
Smay, what about you? What is your thoughts? Favorite MLB team?
My favorite MLB team is the Rattlesnakes.
The Rattlesnakes?
Yeah, the
is that a real
Rattlesnakes.
team?
So wait, do you know who's in the MLB?
I mean, yeah, I know there's the Yankees and the Red Sox and the
Ooh, the Broncos.
The Angels.
I'm kidding.
There's the Angels, there's Tampa Bay, there's
I got lost in 5th grade in the Tampa Bay Rays.
the White Sox. I'll say probably my favorite are the Red Sox. I like them.
The Purple
Yeah,
Sox.
someone said they said Red Sox. I bet you're
Yeah.
sticking with Boston.
Yeah.
So
The Cubs.
So while I probably know the most about baseball, I'm not a baseball fan. So
I was gonna say I'm not a baseball
but I grew
fan.
up. I had a friend that was a big Braves fan. I grew up in Tampa, so obviously go Rays.
Yeah.
When they do well. But
Oh,
I had
what
this
am I
weird
s-
fascination with Atlanta
sorry,
Braves for the
keep going.
longest time.
It's Miami Dolphins, bro. I went to their games growing up.
What?
Not Dolphins, sorry, Marlins.
Man, this took a long. Okay, I think we should get away from that question.
I'm a big sneaky.
I
It's
don't
the
think there's
Marlins,
really
guys.
anything
It's
happening
the Marlins. I
Anywho,
went to the games growing up.
we are going to go ahead and move on to some technical analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you're enjoying today's stream, drop a 1 in the chat and let us know that you are. But we have Detroit Tigers, baby, says Corey. There we go. Guys, we have some very interesting technical analysis to do on Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and jump onto the chart. We can see here that there is an ascending trading channel going on, an ascending wedge going on Bitcoin down on the 1 hourly chart. In fact, we've also seen that there's something called a parabolic trend line showing up as resistance and also as support right here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's the coffee coming back up, telling you guys how much you should like the stream.
Ooh.
Anywho, this is what is known as a parabolic trend line. These are parabolic uptrends, and they're forming this like horn pattern. I don't think there's a technical term for this, but this is an interesting movement. It means that Bitcoin is going parabolic, and it does indicate strength of the bulls, increasing strength of the bulls, which is a good sign. What are you looking at, Snake?
Nothing. I'm not.
What are you doing? He's giving me a weird look. Why are you messing with me?
Nothing. I didn't mess
Oh
with
my
you.
gosh.
I'm not messing.
Smack's always messing with me,
I'm not
Cam.
messing with you.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
You never know with you.
you never know with
Keep
him.
going. Just keep going.
Anyway, I have
Talk
a feeling
about
he
that
put
pattern.
something weird on the screen.
No. Just keep talking about that formation.
We will
there.
find out after the stream because again, we will never know.
I'm
'cause
scared.
That's not what we're able
I'm
to look
scared,
at.
but that's okay. We can also see here that the 20 exponential moving average is providing support for Bitcoin. It hasn't shown up yet, but I know it well enough to know that it is. We can see right here that the 20 EMA has been bounced off of by the market, and it has held as support on the 1 hourly chart. And we can also see down here on the hourly chart that there has been a bullish cross on the MACD, and the MACD, the RSI has rallied up to around 70. That is a very good sign. Whenever RSI rallies up towards that 60 and 70 region, you might think, oh my gosh, the market's getting overextended, but that's not actually true. Before you break the speed limit, you gotta like get up to the speed limit, right? What would a cop say? He'd say, I want you going the speed limit, I don't want you going much slower, I don't want you going any faster, but I want you going right there around the speed limit, because that's what's safe. If you go 20, 30 miles an hour under the speed limit, a director of marketing, Shannon, who always goes like 5 miles an hour in a 50. Anyway, that's some
When his
office
car is
drama.
working.
When his car is working, which is almost never.
Yeah.
You would notice that you want to go right up to that speed limit, right? It means that you're doing what you should be doing. RSI is very similar. You want it to be around that 60 to 70 region. You don't want it being any higher, really, but you also don't want it being really, really low, because both of those can be dangerous. You want that RSI sitting around 60 to 70. It indicates the bulls are strong, but they're not overly extended. This is actually a very good place for the RSI to be. That being said, if we also break up here above 70, it might indicate that the bulls are strong enough to get overextended. If you have a car that is able to go over the speed limit, then you know you got a good car, right? Hopefully, anyway. You got a car that has some acceleration, you can get out of situations that you don't want to be in, you can merge onto the interstate quickly. Just because you can go really fast doesn't mean you should, but it is a good sign if you were able. Hope that analogy made sense. Probably didn't. But the point is, if we see RSI able to breach 70, go up towards 80 or 90, that means the bulls are very strong right now. So keep an eye out for that RSI. If we continue to rally here, it is a sign that we might be breaking resistance, of which there is quite strong resistance right above us, and it's sitting right here at $36,300 and change. We are currently just above this resistance level, just a little bit. Actually, we're below it because we're at $36,280 at the moment, but there is strong resistance sat here exactly around $36,185 based on this high right back over here on the 20th of June. We saw the market rally almost to this level back on the 24th of June as well, when we rallied up to $35,500. And if we back extrapolate this trend line, you guys will see that there has been a plethora of trading around it. We saw resistance touches on it here on June the 19th. We saw resistance touches here on June the 12th, support touches on the 10th and the 11th, and then a ton of trading in late May and early June. This is a level that Bitcoin desperately needs to breach if it's going to continue into a new uptrend. Remember, guys, trends are defined by higher highs and higher lows. Right now, we need to set a higher high first, and then we can worry about a higher low. At the moment, we've kind of set a higher high above this high that we put in on the 24th of June, but that's only 5 days ago. We want to see a little bit more than that to really be confident. I would like to see that RSI rally up into that 75-80 region and then have a healthy correction just to prove what it can do. That's what I would like to see, and I think it will happen, just so you know. However, we also do need to keep in mind this ascending wedge. These are statistically likely to break bearish. 70% of the time, they will break bearish. It's never a guarantee. There's no such thing in technical analysis, but normally they do break to the downside. Keep that in mind. If it does, then we would likely be pulling back to support around that mid-30s region, probably around $35,000. In fact, $35,000 exactly is a very likely level of support if we do break to the downside. Also look for the 20 exponential moving average on the hourly chart as support. I also want to point out what Lux Algo is saying. Lux Algo over here has been very, very helpful. Once it turns on, I will show you. I was using it before the stream started. You guys can notice right here that we have a buy signal right here in the middle of this, Great buy signal, great opportunity to buy. We also saw there was a sell signal right down here. You would have caught the last half of this. We also saw that there was a sell signal right up here in the beginning of this downtrend and a strong buy signal right here. Lux Algo has been very, very helpful lately. If you're interested in signing up for Lux Algo, it is a very helpful technical indicator that I personally use in my own technical analysis. And truth be told, I haven't even actually calibrated it correctly for the 1 hour chart, and it's still doing pretty well. I want to go into the Discord and mess with it all, but the point is, it's a very useful technical indicator if you are interested in it. The link's in the description box down below. You can sign up using coupon code JEB, J-E-B-B, at checkout and get 20% off. Anywho, guys, that's all I got for Bitcoin. We have strong resistance, TLDR, we have strong resistance at $36,300. We need to break it. If we don't, we're probably going back down to 35. If we do break it, we're probably rallying up towards 40. That's really what all of this comes out to say.
Out of curiosity, Jeb, where are you getting the 36.3?
36.3, I am getting
What date are you looking at that you're putting that as the level of resistance?
I am looking at, on the hourly chart, I'm looking at a little local peak at 1600 hours, UTC -4 on the 20th of June on the hourly
20th,
chart.
Okay, because what I had was, I had a level of resistance, and again, here's an example where TA is not identical. It doesn't always look the same. I had a level of resistance at 36,132 because I was looking at the 4 hourly chart, and I think it set that right around those days, right in the 19th, 20th, that area.
Yep.
So, okay, it not that far off. However, if what I'm saying about the 36,100 is good, and we can hold above that, it puts us into a little channel. Now, is your next level of resistance sitting right there around that 37,800, 37,700, somewhere in there?
Yeah, my next level of resistance would be right up here around 37,800. Yeah,
that's a nice little pocket. I would love to see Bitcoin confirm right above and turn that level of resistance into support at that 36, whether it's 100 or 300. We're kind of flirting right now. We're at 36,300 anyway. But if we could turn that into support and fluctuate right in there, first of all, for my prediction, if we can even break that 37 would be nice for my
I'm seeing 37,800 roughly based on some highs that we set back on June the 10th. And then there's also some Fibonacci levels in here. If I bring up my other chart, you guys can see that there is a strong bit of Fibonacci support sitting around 37,200 all the way up to resistance all the way up to 38,000, excuse me. So those are a few levels to be looking out for. Also, the mid level here on our rally from $9,800 back in September when we started this rally, this bull market, all the way up to $65,000. The midpoint there is 37,300, so that's a level that you're going to want to pay attention to, which is right in that zone as well. That's actually almost exactly where we're talking about. Here's a very important teachable moment. This is why I like that Tim is learning technical analysis and has gotten to the point where he can say, hey, Jeb, but what about this? You guys need to understand, there's a reason that I want you to look at other analysts. There's a reason why I want you to go and watch other YouTubers, not just myself, and why I want you to be able to do your own analysis. It's because you and I, and me and Tim, and me and Smay, we're not always going to see things eye to eye. But if we're all following principles of technical analysis, we'll probably see things pretty similarly. One thing you got to keep in mind about levels of support and resistance is that nothing really acts as a level. We draw it as a level because it's simple, but it's more like an area of probability. Before I went into engineering and then dropped out of college to start this YouTube channel, I decided that I wanted to go into astrophysics. And one of the things I loved studying was quantum mechanics and field theory, about how electrons show up as probability fields rather than very simple orbitals. You can never tell, based on the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, you can never tell the exact speed and location of a subatomic particle that is of a certain size. So there's always a probability field. You only kind of know where an electron is going to be at any one given time based on where it might be, because you can't know exactly because of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. I'm not going to go into all this. This is not a quantum mechanics show, but the point is, it's the same thing on resistance levels. Just because you draw a resistance level at $37,186.24 doesn't mean everyone else is going to. Yeah. So look at resistance and support levels more as zones of probability and zones of, resistance coming together, because what you're really trying to do when you're doing technical analysis is you're trying to figure out how everyone else is seeing the market so that you see it similarly, so that you can trade based off of how other people will trade. That's why we say technical analysis is an art, not a science. It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of wisdom, it takes a lot of experience, and you also need to be using it to try and figure out what other people are thinking. So it's useful to have other voices. That's why this channel is hopefully useful to you guys, so you can hear our voice, compare it to what you are seeing, and then come to your own conclusions.
Yeah.
So where do you personally think, based off of all this, Tim, that it is going to go next?
Well, okay, so when I was doing mine this morning, I was looking really heavily at that level of resistance, saying we're going to learn a lot based off of how our price moves through it. And again, unless we see a massive correction, the momentum we're seeing in Bitcoin at the moment is looking like we're pushing through that with confidence. And again, if this was one of those things, if you guys are looking at dates through, let's go June 24th through around June 29th, so pretty much today, it is looking like we are confirming that we did in fact just play through a cup and handle formation.
Yeah, let me show you guys out on the chart while you're talking to him.
Which, by the way, the cup and handle formation, for those of you who know, or maybe you don't know, with the videos that we are releasing on CT2A, this Friday's video is actually all about cup and handle formation. It'll be released. So you guys are getting a great view at what cup and handles do right as we lead up into that video, which is, we couldn't have planned it any better if we had tried. But, I know you guys are seeing what Jeb has put on his screen. If that is true, if the cup and, which it doesn't always follow it perfectly, but what you will see when you watch Jeb's video this Friday is you will see traditionally cup and handles, if you draw a line across the top of the cup and then you measure to the deepest part of the cup, usually the breaking point of that line, we have a projection that would put us up to the end of this ascending trend around $40,000, which is kind of where I got my prediction of that 38,500, because I think we'll hit there, maybe bounce down a little bit. What's going to be really interesting now that this is assuming we confidently break this 36,132 level that I have written. If we can stay above that and turn that into support and now start bouncing between 37,700, 37,800, somewhere in there, almost 3,800, and use that as a little bit of accumulation phase to allow more people to get in, because this is what happens, even though it doesn't make sense. A lot of people see prices rising and say, oh, look at the price rising on Bitcoin. Let me go get some, which could be what we will need to push it through. It is going to be hard, and that's the only reason, that's the one concern I have about if the cup and handle will play out perfectly, is that strong level of resistance at 37. However, I have been wrong several times. I've been pessimistic sometimes and been completely wrong. I've been optimistic sometimes and been wrong. So this is one of those things, man, based off the technical analysis that I'm seeing, based off the fundamental news that I'm seeing, I am going to be kind of in a place where I entered a trade the other day that I'm kind of in the position of saying, do I go ahead and cut it now just in case, or do I risk it a little bit more and try to get a little extra? We shall see. I'm probably going to wait here the rest of the day and see, do we confirm above, and that way I'll stay in if we stay above that level of resistance, or if we bounce down, I might say, hey, you know what, I think that might be a temporary top right now. Let me get out, let it drop a little bit, and then enter in again. Yeah,
and I think this is a great teaching point also, because cup and handle formations, oftentimes they will actually be dissonant chart formations in and of themselves. They'll be divergent chart formations in and of themselves. What you a lot of times see with the cup and handle formation is exactly what we're seeing right here. Cup and handle formation is supposed to be pointing to the upside, but the part that leads into the handle of the cup and handle formation almost always creates an ascending wedge, which is a bearish formation. So Tim, what should people do? And this is a question for you as well, as I want you to answer this, but also explain it if you can. What do we do when two different chart formations or indicators disagree with each other? How should we go about that?
Okay, I might not answer this correctly, so you're going to tell me if I'm wrong. So what we are going to do, especially because you're talking about the bearish wedge, right?
Yeah, we have an ascending
wedge that would break bearish. I'm going to answer this in a couple different ways. The first thing is we look at a lot of different indicators. We don't just go off those two. Those are two different things that are conflicting. However, the other thing is, I believe that if we do bounce off that wedge, if we do come break bearish, it's not like we're going to drop all the way back down to 30 or anything. We're going to drop back down to around, like you said, 35, 30, maybe 34, 500, something like that. In which case, like I said, that's what I'm looking for, is to, exit my trade at the top, let it dip down again, buy in down low, or, enter my trade down low and let it go up again. I think that it's one of those things that you got to zoom out a second and look at the big picture, because we have seen several times in descending wedges, we break bearish temporarily before we turn around and go back bullish, and vice versa. So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for.
That's exactly what I wanted, actually. I think that's what we have happen a lot of times on cup and handles, is that sometimes you'll have a second cup or second handle where that ascending wedge breaks bearish temporarily and then it breaks back to the upside. We see this happen all the time. Just because a wedge breaks bearish, that sentence had no information in it about how long it was going to break bearish. Just because it broke bearish doesn't mean it's going to go down forever. Could go down for a day, could go down for a week, could go down for 4 hours. A lot of times when you see an ascending wedge on the 4-hourly chart, it might only break down for less than a day, and then it will keep rallying. So that's one of the reasons I asked him about that, is because I want you guys to be thinking about the same thing. What do you do when two different chart formations are seemingly contradicting each other? Think about it more nuanced, and you'll probably find something. And if you truly can't render both of them asunder, then number one, you might just not have a very good idea of where the market's going, and you just got to accept that. It's not always going to be clear what the market's going to do, and an amateur technical analyst will try to make a prediction every single time. Sometimes there's just not enough information. In fact, a lot of times there's just not enough information. So if there's dissonance in the market, don't try and be sure when you can't be sure. But also make sure if there's ever dissonance and there's ever divergence between multiple different chart formations and indicators, go and look for other indicators and try and figure out, okay, 70% of the indicators say we're going up, the fundamentals say we're going up, we're probably going up despite these 30%. That's why you need to take a holistic view on technical analysis and look at the whole picture and not just tunnel vision on one thing. Let's go ahead and read some super chats, and then we will move on to Ethereum, which frankly won't take that long because it looks very similar to Bitcoin at the moment.
All right, so I want to make sure real quickly I didn't see any slip in because sometimes I do not see it. Nope, we're good. Okay, so I have the two that are in chat. We got one from Kirby.
Kirby.
Or Serpy. I don't, I'm assuming it's Kirby. He said, guys, did you look at Ecomi / Vive or Veve? I don't know which one that's pronounced. Marvel partnership is confirmed, still early days. We did not look at that.
Not.
And,
I
so that is
Is that
something interesting.
the Marvel doing NFTs? Because I see that.
Is it the Marvel doing NFT things?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's what it sounded like. No, I mean, there's not much to talk about. I mean, it's just that Marvel's trying to make NFTs, but we tried talking about NFTs here. You guys don't like NFTs, so we'll skip it.
That's fine.
Next one from Seek Crypto says, why don't you guys talk about Hex? It's outperforming everything. So I went and looked at it quickly because I'm assuming, Jeb, unless I'm wrong, do you know what Hex is?
Nope.
All right, Hex is a coin. I don't know that much about what Hex is either. However, I know that it is ranked 201, and I can tell you guys right off the bat, unless something is massive in the news, we do not usually follow coins that are in the tops. However, as far as it's outperforming everybody, I don't know if that's necessarily true. When I was looking at it, I'm trying to get to my page and find it again because I kind of clicked away from it. I think it's been up 11%. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I was looking at. It's been up. It's up 7% on the day. I don't know. We'll have to look more into Hex. However, the reason we don't look into it is because it's not massive in the news and it's not even a top 100 coin. So it's kind of hard to give every single coin attention. We have one more super chat that just came in from Matt Sanchez saying, good morning, gents. Great job today. Every day. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Matt Sanchez. If you guys are enjoying today's stream, smash that subscribe button. Tune in every single morning at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time if you're finding value here. And also, if you haven't already, hit the like button. There are over 2,000 people watching live, and we're thankful for every single one of you. If we could get above 1,000 likes, it would warm my heart. Thank you very much to everyone who has already hit that like button. I know we can do it. Let's go ahead and move on into some Ethereum technical analysis. Like I said, this isn't actually going to take that long because Ethereum looks very similar to Bitcoin, but there are a few important differences. You might be looking at this chart and wondering how it is different than Bitcoin, but I assure you it is in some very important ways. Similarly to Bitcoin, we are seeing a rising wedge. However, in this case, we're not seeing as well defined of a cup and handle formation. Instead, what we have seen is we've seen an inverse head and shoulders pattern form right here with a neckline around $1,880, and that broke out right as you would expect it to, up above its price target of over $2,000, and that is what we have seen happen. So that's a good sign. If we look at our EMAs here, we can see that Ethereum is solidly above its 20-hourly exponential moving average, and if we look at TD sequential, unfortunately, we've hit a 9 flash. In fact, I forgot to look at this on Bitcoin, but I think we're actually pretty close to doing the same over on the King of Crypto. We've hit a 9 flash on Bitcoin's hourly chart as well. So this is something we need to keep in mind. Like I said, guys, you want to take a holistic perspective on crypto. You want to look at everything in its entirety. In this case, we're looking at the TD sequential because it's one thing that can give us more information. The TD sequential flashing 9, for all of you who don't know what TD sequential is, it's a candlestick counting algorithm that counts from 1 to 9 based on some complex mathematics that I don't have time to get into in today's video. It will eventually hit 9 if a market moves in the same direction for too long. If it hits 9, then the market should be due for a reversal. In this case, we've seen a red 9 flash, which indicates that we should be due for a downtrending reversal, that being a bearish reversal, which lines up with our ascending wedge. These are two indicators that are talking against Ethereum, but there are more things to talk about here, so we don't want to just leave it at that. We can also see on the MACD that we've just had a bullish cross 2 hours ago on Ethereum US dollars, and we're seeing the RSI hovering up here around 68.70. That's a good sign. It means that we're strong, but of course, how long can we go on that? Ethereum has been trending to the upside quite substantially for the last day and a half, and in that time has rallied 22.5%. My question is, can it maintain that? Today is Tuesday. Yesterday when I made my prediction, you guys saw me doing this kind of number with a horizontal level, and really what I was looking at was over on, well, it was on this chart actually before I deleted everything. I was looking at it, and I had this feeling that Ethereum was going to rally up to this resistance level at $2,200 based on these supports. You can literally go in yesterday's video. You can see me doing this. I was looking at these levels of support that Ethereum was testing back on the 12th of June and the 29th of May, respectively. And I had a feeling that we were going to rally up to here, hit our head, and reject. Right now, it looks like we're at a very important decision point. Same thing as we saw in Bitcoin. It needs to break this resistance. If it breaks this resistance, boom, off to the races. The shotgun blast went off. We're about to see some rallying on Ethereum. But if we can't, that TD sequential normally doesn't get ignored, and it would indicate that we're moving to the downside. One more thing I ought to point out is that there is actually some RSI divergence going on the hourly chart. We have RSI divergence with downtrending levels starting here on the 28th of June, going through today. That is RSI divergence classically. And we see uptrending levels of resistance. I said support earlier on RSI, excuse me. Resistance on RSI, and we're seeing uptrending levels of resistance on its price action as well. That is bearish RSI divergence and does indicate a downtrend. So if we look at the volume here, there's strong volume, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to continue. Let's look at Lux Algo, and then we'll move on to our opinions on this, because I want to hear what Tim thinks as well. But if we look at Lux Algo here, I haven't had time to calibrate this. This is the stock settings. We have a strong buy signal right here, but you guys can see that we're seeing a color change up here. That's important because when Lux Algo starts going through those color changes, oftentimes that's its way of telling you, hey, you're probably getting close to the top. See this right here? This was an indication that we were getting close to the top on this market on Lux Algo. Then we saw a sell signal follow it, but we saw the color change in advance of it. We're starting to see that color change show up on Ethereum at this point as well. We've shifted from this color into this more, it's either green or yellow. I think it's yellow. I'm colorblind. I can't tell. But this color does indicate that we might be reaching some kind of a top. It means we might be overextended, and it means that there might be a sell signal showing up in the next several candlesticks. All of this to say, Ethereum can break bullish. It absolutely can. But why? What will make it break bullish? That's the question I have on everyone's mind. Right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are trading sideways. Bitcoin's doing well, but I'm talking about from a more macro perspective. The last 4 weeks, we are still in sideways momentum. Can Ethereum break bullish here? That is the million-dollar question. And Tim, based on everything that I've just seen and everything you've seen, where do you think Ethereum's going next?
All right, so I'm going to start what I'm going to say based off of what I'm looking at the hourly chart, and I'm going to kind of back up because Jeb is absolutely right. We're seeing a divergence happening, a bearish divergence happening. And like he said, you're going to see that by measuring the tops, and you'll see the price action going up, the RSI going down. However, when you go to the 4-hourly chart, you do not see that happening. And as we have said several times, predominantly traders more often use the 4-hourly chart than they do the hourly chart. So that is something to keep in mind, is that we are not seeing that divergence happen on the 4-hourly chart, which, Jeb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what that is communicating, and obviously we go out to the daily chart, it's going to be even less. What that's communicating is we might see a reversal in the short term, but that does not mean the trend is over. Like I would venture to say right now Ethereum is in a upward trend, a bullish trend. Trends do not mean there's never a downward price movement. So I think what Jeb is saying is absolutely right about that. I have that level of resistance right there above 2,200 as well. Again, I think we're going to bump our heads, slightly correct. Do we correct all the way back down to 17,000? Absolutely not. I think correcting maybe a little closer to 2,000 before we continue that upward trend, because when you're looking at the 4-hourly and you're looking at the daily, there are a lot of good signs, with the exception of, I was looking at the daily chart this morning, and one thing we were talking about before, and death crosses have to be taken with a grain of salt. A lot of times they're confirmation that we were in the downward trend. They're not necessarily talking about what's to come. However, when I'm looking at I think it says 4 MA. I don't know if this is simple moving average or EMA. That point might be a little confused, but it definitely looks as if on my screen my 50-day moving average is red. It is definitely going down. It is heading down, which it's about to cross the 100, which is a death cross the 100, which isn't crazy. It's got a long way to go before it hits the green. When my green was the 200, which is what a lot of traders see as the big death cross. However, we will see there's a lot of time, especially on Ethereum with the volatility, that those lines, the 20 and the 50, constantly go up, down, up, down, up, down, and it doesn't necessarily dictate that we're moving from either a bear cycle to a bull or a bull to a bear, because Ethereum is a little bit younger of a project than Bitcoin, and of course the stock market in general. However, as a whole, wrapping up all of that, what I'm trying to say is I do believe I don't know if we're going to break through that 22. I think I have it at 22. 48. I don't know if we're going to break through that with confidence. I think we either already did or we're going to bump our head off of that. Slightly correct. Again, maybe down to 21, maybe down to 2,000 before we continue this upward movement. Because the other thing is, I've said a lot here, but if we were to take the Fibonacci retracement levels, we actually should be seeing Ethereum break above that line to probably somewhere around 23. But right around $2,300 is kind of right there in that sweet zone for the Fibonacci retracement level. So there's a lot of things happening here. So you go back to the fundamentals, and that's ultimately what I'm looking at. Is I'm looking at the chart saying I see a couple different things saying slightly bearish, a good amount of things saying bullish. This is to add to what I know is happening fundamentally, and fundamentally, I know we are about to hit the much anticipated EIP 1559 and London hard fork, which is bullish news for Ethereum. I do think it's going to help. I do think it's going to speed things up, make things cheaper, which is what Ethereum holders have been waiting for and traders have been waiting for. So my anticipation is, even if we slightly correct for a second, I think long term, when we're looking at a grander scheme of weeks and months, I think we're heading back up.
Great. No, I love that. What you incorporated fundamentals in there, and you also talked about how what I would call a tertiary movement might be contradicting the secondary movement. Let me break that down. Markets move in three major types of movements. You have your primary movements, those are your bull and bear markets that last multiple years. You have your secondary movements, which interrupt those primary movements that last weeks to months. We're in a secondary downtrend. That's why we haven't called a bear market yet, is because we're still in a secondary downtrend. We have not confirmed a bear market, which is a primary long-term downtrend and decrease in retail investor interest and price action. But there's a third type of movement, which is your daily price action. That's your volatility. Those are the tertiary movements that interrupt your secondary movements. So in this case, we're seeing a secondary rally, that being a rally that is taking place over the course of many days on into that weak territory. But it looks like breaking bearish out of this wedge, we're going to see a tertiary movement to the downside based on that TD sequential, based on strong resistance, based on RSI divergence, and based on the fact that we're in the ascending wedge. But that probably won't last that long. This is something you got to keep in mind. Just because TD sequential says 9 flash doesn't mean that we're going to crash $500. It might mean we're going to go down, but an expert analyst will make sure that he thinks about, or she thinks about, how far and for how long. We probably are going to see a correction, but it's probably not going to be sustained for multiple days. It'd probably be sustained for a few more days, and then it will continue to the upside based on those fundamentals that Tim just said, and based on the fact that out on the daily chart, we do have Fibonacci resistance sitting at 23.6%, around $2,332, which we should be rallying to, and we've just seen one of the strongest bullish MACD crosses on Ethereum on the daily chart in a very long time, and that is a good sign for longer-term appreciation of price action on Ethereum. I want you guys to keep this in mind, because I get flack all the time when people will say, oh, Jeb, you're predicting up and down at the same time. Yes, I am, because you can go down over the next day, up over the next week, down over the next month, and up over the next year. There are trends and different kinds of trends that show up inside of each other on multiple different time frames, and this is a good example of it. So I think we're going to see a short-term downtrend like we were saying, but as Tim said, I think we are going to bounce off of some support, probably above 2,000, and rally from there. Tim.
Yes.
Do we have any super chats before we wrap it out?
One more, at least I'm scrolling to make sure there's nothing else that I missed, because I've done a pretty good job of not missing. So I think we only have one from Jamie Extreme saying XRP and Link, both 50 cents in 2019, end of story. I've been seeing in chat some people going back and forth about XRP. As you guys know, I recently have been one of those people who was against XRP, and now I'm kind of like, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it whatsoever, and I'm not like going and stacking my portfolio with XRP. However, I'm like, all right, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. I think it's actually a little bit better. I think, as I close that out for Jamie, and people answering about XRP, I do not have a price prediction on it. That's something that we could potentially do in a future stream, do some stuff on XRP. There is something fundamentally that is pretty interesting, and that is that XRP is probably pretty stinking close to getting out of that SEC lawsuit. It looks like they're going to win. And of course, that SEC lawsuit was what originally started their downward trend. I think there is, I need to do more research before I know for certain, but I do think for anyone who's wondering, is there any potential upside to XRP? The answer cannot be no. The answer is that there might be a very good shot for XRP to resume back to where they were, hit previous all-time highs. However, before you just invest all your money, make sure you do your research. That's what I'm doing. I don't put my money into something I'm not confident about, and Jeb does the exact same.
Absolutely. Guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. And also, guys, we have a free newsletter. You can check it out, the link in the description down below. People seem to be loving it. Comes out every single Friday, straight to your inbox, so check that out. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on social media, at CryptoJeb on Instagram and Twitter. We're very active over there. And we now have a TikTok that we're uploading to almost daily, at CryptoJeb Official. Make sure to follow that as well. We've got a lot of amazing followers over there, a lot of great engagement that I love to see. And also, guys, just so you know, if you are looking for a great trading platform, you should look at Bybit. Bybit is the leverage trading platform that I use, and if you ever want to make a leverage trade, which I don't do a ton of anymore, but when I do it over on Bybit. You can check the link down in the description box down below as well. You'll be helping to support this channel while getting access to a fantastic cryptocurrency exchange.
All right, real quick, we're going to read these super chats because I do not want to leave them over, but we're going to run over time. That's okay. Enoch Sosh says, Jeb's thoughts on number of projects building on Cardano. Will Q4 be Cardano's quarter?
Q4 has got to be Cardano's quarter, or they might not have another chance because they need to get some development going on before ETH 2.0 launches, which they are doing.
I would say they're on top of it.
They are doing.
They're exciting.
So good for Cardano.
Mark Zweigart said DOT didn't see the huge gains as much as many other alts. What do you think their chart looks like moving forward?
We'll have to do
I think we're going to have to do that in a different
We'll
stream.
do that tomorrow.
We got one from Super Googly saying, I got scam wicked out of a quarter of my ETH bag at 1.8 thousand. I bought them at 110, so I'm not mad. But if I want, I would be mad. Anytime I lose anything. But if I want to gain it back, do you think I should just open a 2x long when it retraces or just buy back spots?
Well, it sounds like you were trading with an investment portfolio. So that's the piece of it, not financial advice I would give you, is make sure that your trading and your investment portfolios are separate and never shall the two touch other than the profits from your trading going into investment. As far as specifically what you should do in that instance, Super Googly Lily, you have been so loyal to this channel, but unfortunately, I can't really give you that information. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to instruct your exact trades, but I do encourage you in your thought process, try and think about how you can split up those two portfolios so something like that doesn't happen.
Gotcha. The king of super chats, Matt C, says smash the likes.
I like that idea.
I agree.
I like that.
Yeah. And then the last one we're reading, so I'm sorry, guys, we got to wrap this stream out. The Flip Farm says, what top 50 coin would you drop 10K into? Would be a long-term hold, about 7 to 10 years, one high risk, high return, and low risk. And I'm assuming I'm going to say that he would like to say don't say Bitcoin. So not choosing Bitcoin, Jeb, what is a top 50 coin that you would drop 10K into to hold long term?
Cardano.
Yeah, that was that easy answer, but
Cardano.
Another one to keep your eyes on. Again, Ethereum is a good one too.
Solana's good.
Solana's another one I'm keeping my eye on.
Yep.
I would love to say Chili's, but I think Chili's needs to develop a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the last thing we're doing, because this is part of what we do, is updating you guys on where we are with predictions. It's actually a very interesting race, except for maybe Smay's not in it. That could change. The market is fickle. Smay could be back in it on Thursday. You never know, but as of right now, he is about way off. We got Bitcoin sitting at 3622, which is right below Jeb's prediction at 36,400. So that is looking nice for him. However, we are seeing it move to the upside. So we will see if my 38,500 comes true, if we get closer to that 40. When it comes to Ethereum, it is sitting right dab smack in the middle of us. I'd have to do the math to know who's closer with it at 2,200 pretty much, because I'm sitting at 2,450. Jeb's at 1999, and unless we see a massive fall, I don't think Smay's 1975 will come true. And the last one, Cardano. Technically, Jeb is in the lead on that one at his prediction of 138 because Cardano is sitting at 140. However, that's another project we didn't even get to do technical analysis on, but it is on the rise as well, as it seems like the entire crypto market is. Could it get up to my prediction of 150? We shall see. Will it drop down to Smay's 125? You never know. I don't think it will, but you never know. So make sure you stay tuned with us all week as we bring you guys everything you need, and then Friday to see who wins that price prediction.
Absolutely, guys. If you enjoyed today's stream, smash that like button and consider following us on social media at CryptoJeb over on Instagram and Twitter, and at CryptoJeb Official over on TikTok. And also, if you haven't already signed up for CT2A, the sale is over, but it is still a fantastic product. Drop a 1 in chat if you love CT2A and you are an alumni. We have like 4,300 students in the academy now. We're loving all of you guys. New content dropping on Friday, so make sure you watch out for that. That's all we got for you today, guys. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.